All right, we're live, Iggy. NFFC $350 Football Guys High Stakes Online Championship. This will be your first one. I'm excited that I got you to jump in, and I know you're pretty pumped. You've been texting me that it feel like it's the longest 3 hours of wait, and you're antsy, man, and it's also the first time that you and I are on camera together on the sports affiliation. So I got to say that's pretty cool. I've been looking forward to this moment for sure. Like I say, every few shows I remind the people that if it wasn't for Iggy, wasn't for JC, and Greg Kellogg too, got to throw him in the mix, taking a shot on me, letting me develop as a podcaster and share my knowledge and get comfortable doing this stuff that probably wouldn't have happened. So appreciate that, Iggy. And that's why I wanted to get you into this draft. And I know you're a really good player, man. I was in 2 leagues with you last year, and I think you won both of them. So I know they're not high stakes leagues, but I see the way you build your teams. You know what you're doing, man. So I'm happy that you jumped in tonight. You're picking from the 10 spot, correct?
Yes, sir, Joe. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. And you're just great right away. I could tell, like you and we were on Thursday. When you were on Thursday, check down, and I was producing, so we weren't on screen together, but we were on the same show together. And I could just tell right away you had the right stuff. You had the experience. No fugazis over there. So yeah, man. My first NFFC, if you prefer, championship draft. So I've been looking at it, researching it the past couple of years. Stoked to be in here in the group of 12. Been watching your shows, been picking you guys for advice, looking at ADP, getting my list together. I got a pretty good formula that I've stuck to for 15 years. I'm not going to stray away from it too much just because it's a high stakes draft. Just like anything, you got to know the settings, man. You got to know where the points are. You got a team kicker on this format. I'm looking forward to that. I've never played with that, but it's kind of cool in my opinion, especially with it being a high stakes league. And then the defense can score a little bit of points. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to stream or if I'm going to just reach out and grab somebody that can force turnovers and get sacks and roll with them. But, just see how the board falls, bro. I don't have a no draft list. I used to. I don't have that anymore. If the price is right, we're going Bob Barker with it, baby. We're going to get it all the way there, and we're going to hit the 500 when we nail the price, when they would get the exact price.
Nice. All right, so just real quick, we're 1 minute away. I want to go over those settings that you mentioned, the roster requirements. So it's a 20-round draft, 3rd round reversal using KDS. KDS is a draft preference. You set your draft preference for which pick you want, and then it runs. If you get the top choice, first choice, you get your top preference, and then each pick gets eliminated all the way down through 12. The person who gets a 12th choice gets stuck with what's left. So it's kind of cool if you do high volume. You've been on the back end for like 5 or 6 drafts. You can try to get on the first couple of spots, and you can mix it up that way. And you can also use it to target the sweet spots in the current ADP to build, see where you can pluck guys in the right spots, to get the build you're looking for. So there's a lot of strategy involved with it. I think it's pretty cool. So this is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 team kicker, 1 defense, and then you get 10 on the bench. It's 6 points for all touchdowns, including passing touchdowns. It's for every 20 passing yards, 1 point for the quarterback. So, and it's full point PPR, not tight end premium. And we're off and running. It's Gibbs at 1, Chase at 2. So that flipped a little bit. He's usually 3. Bijan goes 3. And
Team 3 had an auto on too. So I don't know if, I guess they just had the top 3 players loaded up in their preference. And Wade just, autoed it out of the top 3. It looks like they're in here. That's got to be one great thing about a high stakes draft. There's no auto drafters, huh?
It can happen sometimes. The midnight owls, sometimes people fall asleep or they'll show up like 4 or 5 rounds in, or they don't get the notification or whatever. It does happen. I will say that, but not often. JSN. So St. Brown over JSN. We've been seeing that pretty consistently over the last couple of weeks. JSN goes 5. CMC at 6. Team 6. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, some drafts he ends up falling to the 1-2 turn area, but 6. I mean, I can't complain about it. I don't think it's a bad pick. I'm not completely fading him. So
JT
at 7. So JT's been falling in some drafts. Like I got him at pick 29 or 30, pick 30 in one draft from the 7 spot. Not 30, 18. My bad, 18. Second round. I jumped around. Not 30. He didn't fall far as 30, but he has been sliding. So Puka slides all the way to 8.
Yeah,
that's a late. I think that might be the latest I've personally seen Puka. I'm not sure if that's the latest he's gone. We need Mike Sanders in the chat. He can help us with that.
All right.
There goes.
That makes it pretty easy for me. And I guess we should have discussed this before I do it. You just click the player, then you click draft player, correct?
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm not going to fool around with it. I'm going to go get CeeDee Lamb. I just like him. I think, he's going to get a lot of targets from Dak still. I think people are overhyped on Pickens. So we'll see how the board comes back around. I feel pretty confident with a lot of these players that are still available on the board here.
All right. Genty goes off at 11.
Chase Brown comes off. JJ.
Justin Jefferson at 10 and 12. They also got another pick here, A-Chain. So, yeah, that's kind of like that. Yeah, that's good for you, I think. Yeah. I mean.
What a butthole, man.
You want Chase Brown? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Even with the latest news at center for the Chargers, I still like Amari and Hampton. I like him more than Saquon. I like Kenneth Walker. I like Derrick Henry. I think I'm just going to go Amarion right here, man. I think he's going to get a lot of catches as well out the backfield. So I'm just going to do it. That's my build. I want to try to keep my team balanced. I did look at Drake London and A.J. Brown, but just got a little too nervous, man. And I want to keep balance. I want to say what's up, everybody, for watching. Thanks for joining.
So you go CeeDee Lamb, Omar, and Hampton. So wide receiver, running back. We'll see what happens. This is third round reversal, so it'll be coming back to you pretty quickly once we get to the end of the second round.
Yes, sir. And I'm looking, no doubt about it. I got a pretty good one I'd like to have, because then I'm going to have to wait for it a long time after that, coming on 10.
Saquon Barkley.
Robust running back right there. We're on 4 in a row.
Yep, so we got 2. So Genty and Brown, that's a great start. I think that's a great 2 RB start. And same thing, James Cook and Saquon. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I was hoping since he took Genty, he wouldn't come back with the wide receiver, but he came back with Brown. That's who I really wanted. But I was like I said, when I took Lamb, I was happy with about 3 or 4 running backs in that situation, and all 3 of them went. So that's how it goes.
Nice. There it goes. The running back run continues. The first 5 picks off the board in the second round. H.N., Chase Brown, Marion Hampton, Saquon Barkley, and Kenneth Walker.
I like it, man. I like it. I'm a big running back guy. I get it. I expected this when I looked at how some of the drafts went. Or at least expected by the time I got to the third round reversal, there would be more RBs off the board than wide receivers.
Now, let's see how our RB, first round RB teams play it. A couple of guys still available that usually go right about now. Drake London, there we go. So I like that. He's probably the best wide receiver on the board. And there goes Bowers, the elite tight end. So McCaffrey, Bowers, Jonathan Taylor, Drake London, Herring. Team 5 goes AJ Browns with JASN. So team 4, so the 3, 4, and 5 spot I've noticed. Now it might not be the case this draft because team 3 took Bijan and not Jamar Chase, but I've noticed it's been wide receiver heavy. It like for the first like 3, 4, 5 picks, there's at least 4 wide receivers involved, sometimes 5, depending on the drafter.
Yeah.
So
A little bit of a run coming up, possibly.
yeah, there's some why it's just the way the board falls. Like you see how all those running backs go in the first half of the second round, and it just lines up so that it's wide receiver, and then you end up just leaning into that build because when you're doing that build, sometimes taking a running back, when if you have faith in your running back draft and skills hitting on those mid-round guys, you start to see it's more profitable to just keep hitting them wide receiver ones from their teams or their those high upside top 2 wide receiver, top 24 wide receivers. You get 3 or 4 of those, and then it kind of solidifies your foundation and knocks out one position altogether, and then you kind of go from there. But all right, so we got Malik Neighbors, T. Higgins, George Pickens. Yep, this is all pretty.
I'm up 3 picks here. I'm torn between a couple people here.
Yep, and after you pick, you got quite a bit of a wait after that. So just a little heads up on that. There goes Nico Collins. So he's been falling to the 3rd round every now and then. So 301 Nico goes with Justin Jefferson and Devin Achane. Now we got Jen. That's a good pick too. Yep.
See, so yeah, right here I'm kind of torn between a couple players.
So what are we thinking? What are we thinking here?
Rice right here. I got to decide if I'm going to try to eat it at running back for a long term, or if I want to get my bona fide wide receiver 1 and Rashid Rice. I'll risk it on Henry with age. I'll risk it on Rice staying healthy. I like some guys too, McMillan. But with the 3 wide receiver needs, getting 2 wide receiver 1s, I'm going to go with Rice right here. They don't have anybody else to throw to, really. So I locked up my wide receiver, too.
I like it. The last draft I did, I took Rashid Rice in almost the same spot. I was team 9. But yeah, right there in the 3rd round. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, that's 8 wide receivers in a row, too. I mean, I do love Henry, and I do love having a lot of running backs. But there's some mid-round running backs I'm not too terrified about.
Nice. So now you got a good, what do we got? 4, 5. Almost 20 picks. 20 picks away.
And there's no trading in the NFC, correct?
There is no trading. Nope.
I like that. This guy's definitely built his team on running backs.
Yeah, we got a 3 RB start. James Cook, Saquon, Derrick Henry. It's pretty good, actually. We'll see if he could stay disciplined and build it through the rest of the way. Now, Iggy, before yesterday, before we, you started doing your own prep. I mean, you've been prepping anyways, but before you really got deep dove into it and really preparing for tonight's draft, I gave you some of my NFFC commandments of what not to do. There's certain things that you can do, and it's going to be very hard for that team to be successful based on the format. And one of them was the 3 RB start can work, but you need to be disciplined the rest of the way, and fill out your wide receiver room. And what did I tell you? If a premium quarterback falls to you or a premium tight end falls to you in the next 3 rounds, you kind of have to pass on it. You kind of give that up. when you start three running backs, because you don't if you really set yourself back at wide receiver, it's hard to get 3 or 4 to count on throughout the entire course of the season. You could very easily fall behind there, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But yeah,
and I understand if you got a big quiver, you just probably need to build a different team. Maybe they got more than one, spot in here, one reservation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are going to mix up their builds. Like, you end up with a 3 RB build because you started Cook and Barkley, and Derrick Henry kind of falls into your lap. You know what I mean? It's not always planned.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we'll see how it builds. This one's a lot of wide receivers going. We basically have been all but 2 of the last 14.
DJ Moore goes in the 3rd round. That's one of the highest I've seen him. And this team 5 drafter, I know he likes to push guys up when he decides he wants to take them. So
yeah, he's not messing around, huh?
No, he don't mess around in the draft room, man. So we got JSN, AJ Brown, DJ Moore. That's a great style too.
Right.
What's that, Iggy?
That an ADP means something, but not all the time.
No, ADP is just a map. I consider it a map, and you know, if there's a guy you want, you know the threshold, where the threshold is if it comes time to push him up. That's kind of what I use ADP for. I'm not adhering by ADP. There is value-based draft, and there comes a time where, if a guy's ADP is like 36 and he's sitting there at 52, that's probably a good pick. But
yeah, exactly, man. What did Quentin Johnston do the other day? Totally fine. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
a lot of updates on this NFC too. I really appreciate them with that. It's like stuff I haven't even heard about. They're like, oh, it's just a little ding, but they're at least informing us about it.
Iggy popped this cherry. Steve in the chat. Nice.
Shout out to Iggy Pop too. That is true. Garrett Wilson, a guy I just don't have that many shares of, man.
I like him this year. I pushed him up. I had that one spot, and I took him in the 2nd round in a draft earlier in draft season. And it was because he wasn't my initial target. I just got sniped like 3 picks in a row. Like Pickens went, Ibuka went. I forget who else it was. It might have been T. Higgins. And I was just like, the hell with it. I'm not pivoting it off. I need an alpha wide receiver that's going to get 140, 150 targets. So I just pushed Garrett Wilson up and took him in that spot because I wanted the volume,
Right.
DeAndre Swift goes. This is a high DeAndre Swift as well.
Yeah, but I mean, both of those guys are pretty high for me. Wilson and Swift. That's I guess undeterred. I've seen Wilson maybe go a time or 2, but I feel like it's been a little later for him as well.
Colston Loveland and Trey McBride both go off in the 3rd round. So team 1's got Gibbs, Pickens, Loveland, Wilson. I kind of like it because, Garrett Wilson gives you, like I said, he gives you those 140 targets. Pickens is your high upside. You got Loveland, tight end 1 possible, and you're sitting on Gibbs. So be interesting to see how team 1 does the rest of the way, because right now that's a really good start. In my opinion. Team 3 goes Bijan, Neighbors, Ibuka, Tet. So here, traditional hero RB build out of team 3.
There you go. Bijan. There he goes. 4th round, just like you always said. Somebody's not going to be able to wait. That team is going through 0 RV too, with the no running back build. But there's another no RV build right there. Team 4 and 5. So
Jalen Waddle as a wide receiver 4 flex. That's a great start. Yep.
That's tough. Yeah, here they come. I got to focus. Let me see what I got over here.
Yep. There goes Kyron. So Bowers, McConkey, Kyron, and CMC for team 6. 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver with Brock Bowers. Let's see what team 7 does. Teams with the tight ends. always like to see what they do, because I have yet to click Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, and I don't think I'll click Loveland in round 3. So
Yeah,
I just
there's no tight end premium, right?
no.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've been in some ultra flex leagues, and I've took a tight end. I was like, you guys gave this to me, and a huge advantage. Okay, and I went them 2 guys, but yeah, in this format, I'm trying to be patient. There's a kind of couple guys I might like later on. I might get a little, happy and give it the go. But right now, I'm still trying to build a team how I like to build a team. I don't
There
like
you
being
go.
on one position. I like spread it out. I can always hit a waiver and get a floor guy, And I just want to reiterate these stats on here for stats from last year, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, man.
I don't have the draft room open because I'm not in the draft. I wanted to
Right.
you do the draft, and I'll chime in what I need to chime in and make sure I'm here to answer any questions you have. But I think you're rolling pretty good, man. So there goes
I'm feeling
ET.
good about it.
Yeah. I like what you got going on so far. We'll see where you go. Yeah, round 4, there goes Terry McLaurin, and now you're on the board. Let's talk. You were talking it out loud. Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I had Williams, Etienne, I guess Travis Etienne, and Terry McLaurin all on my draft list. When I look at this running back room, it starts to change. We are in a total another tier right now. I don't really like. It's like
Appreciate
some boomer
that, dog.
Sorry, yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, the wide receivers are boomer bust with J-Dub, Devontae Adams, and Mike Evans. I mean, and Christian Watson. So I think I'm just gonna go safe, keep my team diversified right here, and take Josh Jacobs, who's fell well beyond his ADP.
Nice. I've seen him slip into the 5th round, and earlier in the year when he had that domestic stuff going on or whatever it was, the legal issues news first dropped. He slipped into the 6th round a couple times, but yeah, no, I like it. Like you said, that's a safe pick. You got another pick coming up. Odunze goes off after Josh Jacobs. So you get Jacobs, Hampton at running back, Rasheed Rice, and CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver. All right, team 11, Odunze, Flowers, Chase Brown, and Ashton Genty. Will Miles says safe pick ? With Josh Jacobs. He wants you to elaborate on how Josh Jacobs is a safe pick. Now, just so you know, Will Miles is the 2023 overall winner, overall champ in this contest.
I mean, he's the last 2 years he's gotten what, 18 touchdown. Is that? I mean, is it 14-14? So that might be at 14-14 with 28. 1,300 yards, same running back, same quarterback, same, a little different offensive line. I'd say better Russian offensive line, same terminology. I mean, nothing's changing over there. I do like the coaching consistency.
Well, and you're a Packers fan, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Packers fan, but really, I don't look at that when I'm drafting. I'm trying to I'm worried about my team. But it is nice to have Jacobs. I mean, I do watch a lot of Packers, so I see him get the ball at the goal line. But I hope he stays out of legal trouble. From what I understand, they dropped it. I mean, it's in Brown County. I feel like most of the time, if you get in trouble in Green Bay, they try to push it off to the next year at least. I got a major decision coming up right here. I don't know if I want to make a move or just try to fill out my wide receiver room. Gadabo. You can have him, dude. You know what? I think I'm going to just reach early right here, man. I really like this guy.
If it's somebody that you like, you might have to because you've got a lot of picks in between here.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it, man. It may not be the wisest move, but I like this guy a lot, and I'm drafting him. And I
Nice.
like having positional advantage, you know.
That's So you're not worried about the groin injury?
That's just for Jacobs. I don't get too worried about preseason hype. I hate that part of the body's hurting, but I got to risk it for the brisket right here because I don't. Who else are they going to throw the ball to? Keenan Allen? I mean, I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to over there. JT don't catch the ball out the backfield that much.
And I honestly don't think that Josh Downs is going to take a big step up in volume either.
I don't have any, like, when people were talking about Josh Downs, I was like, well, I haven't been drafting him, you know? Like, I mean, you fooled me once. I did that, I think, 2 years ago, and I was like, this ain't happening, man.
I don't mind that. That's not much of a reach either there, Iggy. Tywar, and I reached on him in the 4th round, the last draft I did. And it was because I don't know. I wanted a share. I didn't have a share of them yet. I felt confident in the wide receivers that I was going to get when it came back in the 5th, and I just pulled the trigger. Same thing as you. You just, I feel like he is going to dominate the targets there, and I mean, are you worried about Daniel Jones at all missing time or being there the entire season? I mean, I know that's been an issue for him, year in and year out.
I hope he took some advice from, veteran quarterbacks or, sought it out and learned how to stay in the pocket more and get rid of it quicker. I'm hoping that. But, yeah, I mean, it is very dependent on Daniel Jones. But I think if they stay healthy, both of them all season, you're looking at Tyler Warren being possibly 100, 110 catch guy, and that's just a lot of points in a PPR format, even without a premium. So, and then, like I said, I really like Mike Evans. I really like Christian Watson. I'm okay with Jameson Williams right there as well. But I just, you're kind of looking at the same situation. Can those guys stay healthy? So.
Nice. So right after you take Ty Warren, Christian Watson comes off. If you go Watson there, you have a Jacobs Watson pairing. Is that something that you think would have been advantageous, or are you not down with stacking teammates like that?
I don't. I think Green Bay's going to have to score quite a bit the first 6 weeks of the season because I don't know how they're going to get any pass rush home. So I expect the offensive stats to be really good for Green Bay, particularly in the first half of the season. And then I think they're going to click with their defense, and their defense is going to start playing really well the second half of the season. Green Bay has, I think, 4 out of their last 5 games are at home or something like that, 3 out of their last 4. I'll have to go back and look at that. But they're going to be playing outside at Lambeau Field in the winter, and I think their defense is going to step it up. Xavier McKinney, you got a great safety, you got a great pass rusher, you got young corners. You got 2 pretty talented linebackers in the middle. There's a lot of potential on this team. It's all dependent on Parsons coming back. But I didn't want to stack on that offense. There's some offenses I want to stack on, but I think Golden's going to be good. I think Kraft's going to be good. I think Reed's going to be good. So, I mean, I have Watson shares. I just I didn't want him stacked with Jacobs. And, there's a lot of wide receivers and running backs I like in the middle of this pack. I think it's a pretty deep middle tier,
Right. All right. So Team 5 follows up that 4 wide receiver monster with Bajal Tootin in round 5. Team 4 grabs Parker Washington, continuing the 0 RB. So they got their 4 wide receivers and Josh Allen. Team 3 finally grabs their second running back and Quinshon Judkins to go with Bijan, Neighbors, Ibuka, and Tet. Team 2 walks in the Burrow, Higgins, Jamar Chase stack. I think that was a little bit early, but especially where they're going to have 2 wide receivers on a bye week at the same bye week, and they're going to need to be able to. They're going to still have to play 3, and then they follow it up with a 3rd running back. So this is what I'm talking about, Iggy. Sometimes when you make questionable build decisions based upon the format. Now, I got to be real interested to see what Team 2 does the rest of the way, because that's a tough build. I mean, I know they got the high upside, and it's only one bye week that they got to deal with, but
yeah, I mean, but one bad offensive game also means a loss, pretty much.
Yeah, and there's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins stacks out there with Joe Burrow in the 7th round. So I don't know how I'm feeling about their build the rest of the way, but we'll see what they do. They got 14 rounds to make it happen. Team 5 goes Chris Godwin for their 5th wide receiver. Team 4 grabs their first running back in Jonathan Brooks in round 6. So not bad. He's been living in round 6. I've even seen it go as high as round 5, which I think is a bit nuts. But
I'm a Hubbard fan, but we'll see. Brooks got to show me. I mean,
Will agrees. He says there is a way to do the Cincy stack, and that is not it.
I'm not gonna talk too much crap because I gotta beat these guys, but I hope I'm playing that person week 6. Let's just say that.
Nice.
Because you have a schedule, right? Because you can still win with your record.
Yes.
Win the league with your record, right?
So if you finish with the best record but not the most points, you play a 3-week matchup against the team with the most points in your league for first and second. If you finish with the best record and the most points, you automatically win first place. There's no 3-week matchup, and second place goes to the team with the next most points. But in an instance where the team with the best record has less points than second place team or than the team with the most points, they end up doing a 3-week shootout. You start with your weekly average, same way that the playoffs are done. It's just a heads-up match, and then it also opens the door for the third highest scoring team in that league. If they score more points than the team with the best record, they get into the shootout as a wild card. So they do get to compete for the $300K grand prize up top, but they don't get any league prizes. But they get awarded because their team was solid all the way through. So you're on the clock. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I went Pollard.
All right. So a third running back to go with Ty Warren, Rashee Rice, Hampton, and CeeDee Lamb. All right. Sam Laporta goes off the board round 6. So what are you thinking on the comeback here?
Thinking a couple things, man. I really am.
I would say it might be wise to grab a wide receiver, but
yeah, I'm looking back. I had a pretty good queue of wide receivers. They took out a pretty good chunk of them, but I still feel pretty good about a few of these up here that I can grab. Hopefully,
I mean, there's quarterbacks that are still sitting there as well that are worth taking right now as well. But I mean, just I don't know who the wide receiver is you got lined up, but if I like the quarterback better, then I might be leaning that way. But just do your thing, Iggy. I just want you to remember all your options. I know there's a lot of people that swear by waiting on the quarterback too. So no matter what, I mean, it's not a bad strategy. It's totally viable. So. But we'll see. You got a lot of picks in between, so you definitely have to weigh your options properly. Yeah. QJ goes off. So Team 12 grabs their 4th wide receiver. They got 4 wide receiver, 3 running back start. Team 11 has 3 running backs, a tight end, and now they grab their 3rd wide receiver, Michael Wilson. Now you're up, Iggy.
Yeah, I see Drake May just hanging out right there. That's for sure. But man, that would put me behind on some wide receivers. Huh. I really didn't want to go get
Yeah.
a quarterback.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with taking the early tight end is sometimes you give up the early quarterback when that happens.
I'm torn, man. To be honest with you, I'm looking at Sutton.
Yeah.
Or May. You know what? I'm gonna just risk it. I don't have any shares of this guy. I'm just gonna do it. 460 points last year. I know it's last year, but there you go. Let's just do it, man.
Nice.
Oh, it's a little scary, but let's just do it.
I know what you're thinking because you like some of the same wide receivers I like in the next few rounds. So I already know. I already know what you're thinking.
I mean, Sutton looked good there. I mean, obviously Sutton went right after I did.
Yeah,
that's a pick. So I mean, I knew that that was a possibility. That's okay, man. Just the way it is. But there's some good players down here.
What I like though is that you're not doing it with some shit bum wide receivers that don't. I don't want to say shit bum wide receivers, but you're not doing it with upside guys that aren't alphas. Like you got CD Lamb and Rashee Rice. So
yeah,
that's a lot of target share that you're leaning into. So I don't hate it. I think you can make it work, man.
Yeah, I got two bona fide wide receiver ones. That's how I look at it. It's just
once Drake May falls into the 7th round, it's gravy. It doesn't matter what your build is. You don't need to stack them with anybody. You take them as is.
He's a tough kid. I don't think. I hope we don't have to worry about him getting injured. After a long season, I don't. But
as a Patriots fan, it's my fear, so I naturally worry about it. Because he's, even though he's a big dude, he's what 6'5", 225 in that range. I still think he's a little bit lanky, and I think he can take a good headshot. I think he can get his bell rung. And I think he can get twisted up if he puts himself in the rut. But he's very good at getting himself out of trouble and scrambling around. I think he's gotten better at avoiding the contact ever since his first concussion that cost him the missed time in his rookie season. So, I shouldn't really worry about it. But I do think that he's not Cam Newton. He's not going to absorb hits like Cam Newton or Ben Roethlisberger. I think if he takes a good lick, I could see him missing time. So he just needs to keep himself out of that, and he'll be all right.
Who are the premier sack rushers in the AFC East? Will McDonald?
That's a question for IDP Iggy.
I'm thinking out loud because I don't think there is too many outside of the Patriots. Buffalo went and got Bradley Chubb. That's about it, man. So he does have that going for him. I'm looking at the flex, though, dude. I know what I got to do now, and I just got to hone in on it and look and see how this all kind of plays out on itself.
Well, you got three. You have a third running back that you can flex.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Pollard's flex worthy.
I like some of these other RBs that are good down here, way down the ADP board, that are good PPR backs. I'm not afraid to pull up on that, and have a true robust running back team, because right now there's only 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2. So, I'm technically got just as many running backs as anybody right now.
Round 8, Ramondre Stevenson up as their second running back. So Team One's got that had that awesome start with Gibbs, Pickens, Loveland, and Wilson. Then they follow it up with Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison. They grab Caleb Williams to stack with Loveland. Yeah, Team One's got a nice team going. If they could fill out their running back room from here on out, I'm liking what they're doing.
I don't like it too much, but That's just because there's too much Bears dependency. I just don't. I think people forgot how many games Caleb Williams had late, like last 3-minute magic. It's like you take away out all those games, his fantasy and his season is just so different. But he might be one of those quarterbacks that is just, hey, give him a chance late in the game and he'll go win it. That might be Caleb Williams' mantra. Man, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane.
Tootin and Mason seems to be the running back pairing for the a popular running back pairing for the real heavy wide receiver builds.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've seen that a couple places too. They just kind of
and Brooks Corum, Dobbins.
Yeah, it's like pretty limited. So there goes Reed. I mean, he got DK in the 6th round right there. That's not bad.
All right, so you're finally approaching. There goes Jaden Reed in round 8. I'm trying to think. I'm bare knuckles in it as far as the draft list goes. Like I said, I'm not in the draft, so I don't have a draft room pulled up. But Jacoby Myers goes.
I liked him.
What? So what are we thinking? You're almost guaranteed to go yellow here.
I don't know. Don't consider it. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dobbs or Diggs? That's a tough question right there, bro. Nope. I'm going to grab this guy, man. I'm not drafting a wide receiver. You were wrong.
Kenneth Gainwell, nice.
So I've locked up my running back room. I feel like I can withstand one injury now. And now I can pretty much the way I drafted them. We'll be seeing a lot of one color. Coming.
Are you going our guy here? I think you should. I don't think he's going to come back around.
I don't think he is either. So yeah. I know who I'm looking at, and I know who you're talking about, and I like you more than any name above him. Oh,
Jordan Addison. They grabbed their 5th wide receiver, 4 wide receivers.
I definitely hampered myself going Warren, and then May. I just saw value there and I took it, man. That's how I draft, though, and then I stay true to myself. I had to reach on Warren just because I wanted that positional advantage. Hey, this is just right, dude. Well, here you go. You want him, you get him, dude. That was for you.
Jalen Coca. Man, he put up wide receiver 14 numbers down the stretch, right?
Yeah.
Early
bye week. I mean, he's kind of my boomer bust. So
I think he's in a great spot. Carolina's a team that they could win that division. If they don't, if they do end up being, I think they have good game scripts is what I'm getting at. I think that they could be in competitive games. They could have a lot of games where they fall behind early and come back, or I just think there's going to be a lot of back and forth with that team this year. And Ted McMillan draws the top coverage. Bryce Young, I don't think he can get any worse. He started to flash. He started to put some things together last year a little bit. So I'm not as down on Bryce Young as some people are. I know some people are just completely think he's the worst quarterback ever, and they're fading Tet because of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of crazy. Tet McMillan's like almost a 30, probably around a 30% target share, and maybe Jalen Coca, he does unlock Coca, and the Tet's target share does take a little bit of a ding, but. I mean, it seems like a pretty condensed offense to me. You get the those two wide receivers. They went out and they signed Darren Waller. I don't know how much that, what that's going to do, but this is a team that never really utilized the tight end anyways. And then you have Hubbard and Brooks, and Hubbard's got a concerning injury right now. So I think Tet and Coker are pretty good bets to earn enough volume and touches.
And he may just be my big play assassin. Like, just, he's going to catch a 30, 40-yard bomb and give me 10 or 11 points on one play, and maybe another catch for 7 or 8,
Will Miles, he said Coker over Diggs.
Hey, Diggs was it was between Coker and Diggs. I think I was peer pressure a little bit right there by Joe, but he's my guy, man. I've got so many Coker shares. I believe in him. It's a big stakes league. Putting my money where my mouth is, So he's my guy. Oh, there goes Tyler Algier. I thought I'd be able to slip him a little bit longer, but he's there. I don't know if I need another running back for a while. I wasn't expecting Kenneth Gainwell to fall that far,
That's about where he goes.
I just think he's going to be a PPR machine at running back.
I think he is too.
You talk about teams that don't throw to the tight end. Let's talk about Tampa Bay. Cade Otton plays more snaps than any other tight end in the league. And does he have anything to remotely represent that in the passing game? No. So I think it's going to be Godwin, Ibuka when he's healthy, and you're going to see a lot of Gainwell coming out of the backfield. Dump off. So.
Diggs is on the coca, that's for sure. Love that. Great comment, Steve. Great comment.
Yeah, that was a good one. It's a young man's game. Young man's game. That's why I'm kind of staying away from Debo. He's over there looking, but I'll let somebody else have him.
Rashad White in round 9. He's been dipping a little bit. He was up in the 7th round in the earlier drafts, and now he's kind of fallen down a little bit. Something happened today. He dumped. Did you see he get injured? Doing the ice bucket challenge.
Who did?
Rashad White. He left practice. I don't know. No, I read something about that he there's no other information on it, and I don't think it's anything serious. But they said that he might have hamstring. There you go. Billy Waz in the chat helping me out said he apparently hurt his hamstring doing the ice bucket challenge today at practice. So
we need to go back to 2-a-days quickly.
So many injuries. I've managed to dodge a lot of it. I have some Jordan Tyson and Jeremiah Love. Those are the main ones that I've been affected by. But I think I had 0 Jaden Higgins, so I dodged that one. Speaking of that, Jaden Higgins going down for the year. Who do you see being the beneficiary out of that?
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I agree. I see people are saying Jalen Knowles going to step up. Now Tank Dell. I think all those wide receivers have their role. I don't think that they increase to some outside wide receiver that's equivalent to Jaden Higgins. It's just not it. It's definitely Dalton Schultz. I like that. Paul Iggy.
Yeah, it's I was big on him anyway. If I'm waiting on tight end, that's where I go. Woof, right there. Team 4. 5 RBs in a row. I guess they have to nail it because they don't have any starters. They got 5 RBs and not one starter. I guess Dobbins is the starter technically. But
yeah, they built it backwards kind of. They could probably plug in Jonathan Brooks and Dobbins if Brooks is able to start the season, which I think he is. Nice. We have Jay. We have a guy in the draft. Let's bring him on, Iggy.
Talking about your draft right now, buddy. You got it.
What's up, Jay?
Hey, man. Hey, guys.
What's up, Jay?
So Jay,
We're talking about Team 4.
So Jay, so Jay, you're in this draft. We've seen you do this with Dr. Roto. Similar things, building the RB room backwards, which is a great strategy when you hammer the wide receivers and grab a premium quarterback like you did. So, talk us through Team 4, man.
Sure. So I knew it was going to get weird right away. So when I got 4th, I wanted to go St. Brown over Puka or anyone else. I wanted that safer pick there so I could get weird later because I knew it was going to happen anyway. I took Olave over Neighbors. I have a ton of Neighbors. I only have one Olave, so I wanted to get a little more exposure there, plus the Tyson injury, so he looks a little better now than he did before. I was planning on going DJ Moore, Josh Allen. I wonder if Team 5 had the same thought when they took DJ Moore that early, but we'll see what they have to say on that if they feel like talking about that later. But I'm fine going Josh Allen naked. I know they took Kincaid on me later. I was thinking about taking him, but I wasn't. If I went naked, I went naked. I didn't really care that much about Kincaid at that point. The RB build, like you said, I don't mind building it backwards. That wasn't my plan going in. I was thinking I might take Love in the 4th, but I didn't want to pass on Josh Allen for Love, and you don't know when he's coming back. But I was going to take Tootin in the 5th, but got sniped on that one. So pivoted to Parker Washington. He's been going in the 4th round lately, so I was happy to get him in the late 5th as my wide receiver 4. And then once I already had my 4 receivers and quarterback, it was just time to slam running back. Nice. And like you said, I'm building it backwards. Brooks looks like he may be a starter week 1. We'll see. It depends on how Chuba comes back, but Corum is certainly, he's a free look guy too. So if he happens to get a touchdown week 1, maybe I start him. Otherwise, I got Dobbins and Brooks, or maybe Algier if Love isn't ready for week 1. I got some options there. I wanted to ensure that Denver running back spot, so I took Coleman to back up Dobbins. I knew he wasn't coming back to me, so I wanted to make sure I had at least one starter that I could count on, depending on how everybody else shakes out.
Good pick, Iggy. I got him there. Last night. Was it last night? It was the other night. I did a draft. I took him in right there in the round 10 as well. Stack him. Correlate him with Drake May as well.
Yeah, Jim. It's if you can get that Allen Kincaid, it's nice. But Allen has so much standalone value, like you said. Running him naked, not that big a deal. But yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool to draft and see how people build their teams with confidence, and it looks like there's not going to be many easy outs, so we'll see how it works.
And Iggy, Dr. Roto, Joe mentioned it earlier. We did a draft last week. We took Lamb, Rice, Warren, Pollard. So I like your team too.
That's right. It is pretty. It is kind of the kind
very
of
similar. Yeah.
From the same spot. We debated
Hampton
too, right?
there, but we ended up we debated Hampton and went Neighbors there instead.
From the 10 spot, right? You guys were in the 10 spot, yeah.
I think Jacobs was gone at 4, so we ended up with Jameson.
Yeah,
that's how you ended up with the 0 RB. The way you guys really
you do enough of these, you have to, even if you're only doing one, you have to know how to pivot from different strategies depending on how the board falls to you and who you like when you go. You have to have those guys lined up. Okay, what am I going to do if I go 0 RB? What am I going to do if I take an early quarterback, early tight end?
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm going to have a one-shot quiver in this tournament, I think. But I feel I'm pretty much building it how I would if I was in my first of any kind of tournament, or any kind of championship. So hoping it pans out. We'll see. I was going to ask, is that why that person George Kittle?
No, did you say IR spot?
Yeah.
No IR spots, but it's 20 rounds, so you get 10 on the bench.
Okay, and they just wanted George Kittle, thinking he might come back, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, he's been going right around there. You're on the clock, but he has been going right around there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was hoping he might slide to me, but he's also a free look guy, so if he ends up not playing week 1, then
so there's a free so Iggy, when we're talking about free look, the Thursday, Friday, the early games in the week, you get to see the results. And then it's because the NFC holds drafts all the way to kickoff on Sunday, and I even think they go into kickoff. if I'm not mistaken, I don't know. The last draft might end like around then, but you get the free look, so you can decide. If like you took Rashid Shaheed there, he's a free look guy. Seattle has the Wednesday game.
Yeah, I was in a league like that last year.
If he puts up a 29, you can toss him right in your lineup, no problem.
The Chargers ended up with a lot of fantasy points that night, that last year, and it totally tilted an auction board. It was an auction board, but it totally tilted it. Dicker, QJ, because I think he had 2 touchdowns, or he had a touchdown and a lot of yards that first week. It definitely tilted the board. I'm glad somebody took Shakir, Jim. I didn't know if I wanted you to still be able to stack Shakir with your team over there. First defense off the board, but team kicker scores more than team defense, right? Generally.
Hey, Joe, they're asking you to scroll the board up a little bit because our faces are blocking the.
Oh, yeah. I'm on it. I don't want to take away too many picks. There we go. We'll leave it there for now. You can always move us over to the left.
That's a lot of fun, though. That's and everything's on the browser, right? You just come up here and get your waivers in on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday by 11. Yep.
11 a.m. Eastern, right? Or
11 p.m.
11 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
And then there's another one that runs on Saturday night. And, so if you don't get the guy you want, or you miss out on a guy, and you didn't have a secondary bid on anybody, and you're still strapped for a lineup spot or a position, a guy you need or whatever, you get Saturday night as well. You could do a lot of cleanup on Saturday night too. Not every, some people will land the guys that they want on the Wednesday night bids, and then they won't pay attention to the Saturday night bids, or they will, but they decide that, they don't have the roster spot to give up anymore. And they won't put in any bids. You can go in there and kind of spot guys cheap, guys who have already put together like a couple of games with 7 or 8 targets, but they're earning a bigger role. You could start to see it like happening. You go in there on that Saturday morning, you add them for $1 or $2, and the next day, on Sunday, they go out and they do another 6 catches for 87 yards. Only this time they score touchdowns. You save a bunch of money because that following Wednesday, you're probably paying upwards to probably around 10% for a guy like that, or more, depending on somebody's needs. When somebody needs a guy, for their starting lineup, that's when you see the aggressive bids happen. Or it's their direct handcuff. Yeah.
Let's see. Interesting.
Cyrus Allen goes in round 9. Team 2's got an interesting build for sure.
So running backs. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I like Isaiah Likely. Great pick.
Yeah, I was happy he fell to me there. He normally goes earlier than that.
Yeah, I like him a lot this year. I got a lot of share.
Nobody went 2 tight ends in this one, so we've seen that a lot lately. A lot of people go Bowers and McBride if he drops.
I think it can only work if you get him in the second or the fourth round.
Yeah, you got to get 2-4. I think you got it. I agree.
Or 3-4 if you're lucky enough.
Right.
I don't know. Which I
haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one either. But I think 2 and 3 is really, really tough to recover from. You're giving up a lot. There's a lot of good players in round 3 for you to be doing a double tap in round 2 and 3.
Felt like the running backs got pushed up a little bit in this one. A lot of guys like Tootin, Irving, Judkins, those guys are usually go around that 5-6 turn. They got pushed up a little bit. Was not good for a 0 RB guy like myself.
Well, there you go. You know why Tootin gets pushed up, because Team 5 needs, once they identify their needs and they have a player in mind, that's their guy, man.
Yeah, he's said pretty consistent.
He's plus he's doing the best he can to mix in builds that he hasn't had yet, and I think that's why he pushed up DJ Moore as well, because JSN, Adrian Brown, DJ Moore, and Jalen Waddle as a full wide receiver core is pretty unique, and it's pretty high upside. I really like that.
Let's see here. Claiborne, like him too. Yeah, there's not.
Yeah, I don't think he was coming back to me, so.
Let's see here.
I don't know if I'm caught up at running back, but I think I got enough dart throws to at least, once things shake out and if guys start getting hurt or Mason doesn't perform. Again, I actually like Mason. I was debating him or Dobbins there because I knew I'd come back with either Coleman or Claiborne with whichever one I got.
Nice. You ended up grabbing both of the deep handcuffs. Jalen Naylor, Omar Cooper. Been seeing Cooper move up a little bit on the boards. I was drafting him in the early drafts, and then I kind of went away from him. I thought, no need to pound the Jets second wide receiver, possibly, too much. But this is an offense that I think is going a little bit under the radar. I think Breece Hall could now he's got the injury, but I think that Geno Smith is getting a little bit too disrespected, and that's, like I said, that's why I'm higher on Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson still gets all his targets, and then the rest of the offense is kind of ambiguous. And this is a team that could be playing from behind, getting a lot of garbage points. So I don't mind taking shots on some of the other pass catching options later on in the drafts. Iggy coming up. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm going to say the problem with that, if you want to let Iggy talk while he picks, I'll come back with my point in a minute.
Go ahead, Iggy.
Yeah. We're starting to get into true dart throw territory here. I don't know. Kind of torn on what I should do here. I think I'm just going to go with somebody I believe in, way above his ADP. Just to get somebody I like, I guess. Draft him.
Malik Washington, nice.
Way above his ADP, but I don't know.
At this point, it's
at the 12th round. Anybody you take from here on out is somebody that you may cut after week 1, week 2. So go get your guy. No, it's not. I mean, that's how you got to look at it. Take the better option. If you're looking for somebody safe, they're going to be out there on the waiver wire for you.
There goes Jacoby Lane in round 12. He's been picking up a lot of steam. A lot of good reports. He made a nice play today, I saw. I mean, it is just, preseason, but he seems to have pulled himself away from the discussion on which rookie wide receiver are we going with. Now it's just a matter of can the Ravens make that second wide receiver a consistent fantasy option. We know it hasn't really worked with Rashad Bateman. So, I mean, what do you think, Jay? What are your thoughts on Jacoby Lane?
I think he's worth the shot. You saw they're trying to go more deep passes to go with the short and intermediate stuff. So I think he seems like a better fit for that than Surratt does, although I like Surratt as a player too. So
is it going to be, I mean, is him and Bateman going to be cannibalizing each other most likely?
So Bateman, he talked about somebody who's not taken, but he got sit out. He got the veteran treatment for the first preseason game, so that makes you wonder, is he in line for the first crack at that role.
Right.
But what I was going to say, going back to Geno for a second, so you talk about, their game script is going to be they're always going to be behind. Well, how long of a leash does Geno get if they're behind every game and they're losing most of their games? Is it going to be Cade Klubnik time? And you got the same concern we got with Garrett Wilson and the Jets passing offense as you do with the Cardinals, where you get Carson Beck coming in. Carson
Beck looked all right, though.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not saying, that I think he's step in sooner than expected, but he did look pretty comfortable in there in that preseason game. There you go, Shabby. So you go Dontavian Wicks, Iggy. Tell us about that pick.
Yeah, I just think wide receiver 2, they're going to need somebody big. Dallas Goedert can't really stay healthy. Devontae Smith's already looking like he's off to a rough spot. But Smith, as great as he is as a Heisman, there's just certain NFL situational play calls that require somebody being like 6'2" with a big radius, and matching him up in a zone or man coverage, situation for Jalen Hurts. So I think Wicks has a big opportunity in front of him. He's definitely I think he's going to end up being one of the better values this season. Just because there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. I'm not certain that Philadelphia's defense is going to be able to control games like they have, even with Big Fangio still there. They're going to control some games, but they're going to have to play offense on some of their games too. They realize that. That's why everything shifted up for them this year. And I think Wicks is he's just as good a dart throw as anybody else right here. That's how I'm feeling about it.
Nice. I can tell you, my guy Joey Brown would be proud of you for that pick because he said the same exact things. Dontavian Wicks is the biggest wide receiver in that row, and when it comes down, to the, like you said, the 50-50 balls down in the end zone, the tight areas, tight windows, that's where Dontavian Wicks is going to be called upon, I think, because. It's also why I like Goddard. I think Goddard's a massive value this year as well. But, somebody's going to catch touchdowns. And, Devonta Smith isn't the biggest guy. Mekhi Lemon's already struggling to stay healthy. And I think he's also a pretty small wide receiver. So I like it. Dontavian Wicks, round 13.
Round 13, man. Yeah, I think I rounded out my wide receiver room well. I got Coker, Dobbs, Shaheed, Washington, and Wicks to kind of fill out that wide receiver 3 spot. Fill in some flex weeks. So,
right, and you don't have to flex a wide receiver where you have Pollard and Gainwell. You definitely have to go with Jacobs and Hampton. You definitely have the running back flex option.
Yeah, and I might use it. Especially if Gainwell's get as many receptions.
Yeah, I like it.
5 to 6 receptions a game, like his floor is going to be really high.
I talk about it all the time, like with the 3 RB build, like with the Cook, Barkley, Henry stat. I think you can make that work, but I think the 3 RB build that has the highest upside is when you hit that third running back a little bit later in the draft, not in the first 3 rounds.
Right.
And that's not to say that you can't turn around and smash your wide receivers in the mid rounds. It's just less likely to put together a strong wide receiver room after that than it is the other way around.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So and then if you hit that like if round 6 Trevion Henderson pans out, then team 8 has that type of build, but you know what I mean, where they can have that high upside flex RB because it's coming from a little bit later in the draft.
I see what you're saying, because that's like what you said. That's what Taken Warren did, kind of tilted my game a little. But I'm hoping he, is a positional advantage. I think he's going to be, and if that happens, I think we'll be in good shape. I like Pat Bryant, man. He was on my list too. I live here in Colorado, so I was kind of torn between Wicks or Bryant.
I would have taken Wicks if it came to me. So
me too. I think Pat Bryant is still a year away from being consistent fantasy option. People are writing Cortland Sutton off a little too quick, I think.
Let's see here. Yeah,
Well, the
me
good
too.
news is he's my wide receiver 6, so I can wait on him.
No, I don't. I mean, obviously contingent upside. What if they really truly do believe in him, and maybe some more injuries happen, and a team is really wide receiver needy, and they decide to move Cortland Sutton? I don't think that's out of the realm. His getting up there in age. He's under a pretty decent contract that I could see them finding a trade partner for him possibly if they feel that big about Bryant. Then Bryant steps into that role, and here you go. You get yourself a high upside wide receiver. So a lot of things can happen where Pat Bryant pays off this year. I just think he's going to need that to happen. I don't think he just pushes Sutton out of the way and Sutton becomes irrelevant on the Broncos.
Right. Let's
Keenan
see.
out. So there goes Keenan Allen, round 14.
Yeah, this is crazy.
What's going to happen when everybody's healthy on Indianapolis? So somebody's getting nuked a little bit. Fantasy. It's probably Josh Downs the most.
Well, is it all of them? Is it just going to spread out the targets enough?
Yeah.
Warren's probably the safest one of the 4 for target share, but the other 3 guys, is it just going to spread out all their work? And because that's what happened in the Chargers last year, right?
Pretty much. Iggy's up. You got 10 seconds here.
I don't know what to do.
QJ McConkey.
I'm kind of stuck.
That's usually when I go for D or a defense or
I just went with my backup. He may not play, but there we go. I'm safe.
That's a solid backup. I think he's in for a pretty productive year. I mean, he's
contract year for sure.
Playing for a contract. Got a chip on his shoulder. And it's you correlate him with Kenneth Gainwell too. Kind of like that.
Yeah, I kind of saw that little mini stack right there, if you will. Jerry Jeudy, man, the ultimate mystery over there, I feel like.
So does he get traded somewhere? I know
Maybe.
Santa's root for that.
That's possible. Yeah, he's another one. Especially where they got Concepcion looks real good doing what Jerry Jeudy is supposed to be doing. So I like it. He was taked up. You thinking about a second tight end at any point here, Iggy?
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now, if I'm being honest. I look at the points, and I don't know why somebody wouldn't do this. I better do it.
Texans kicker in round 15.
Yeah, because their ADP was before 190, and they're the highest scoring team kicker by quite a bit. And it's just D'Amico Ryans, man. It was my guy was Kamaya Farbear, and I said D'Amico Ryans just wants to play good defense. He'd be happy winning every game 9-0. That's perfectly okay with him. So I think they're going to kick a lot of field goals and play good defense and have trouble scoring in the red zone. And like I told you, I like having positional advantages. I feel like I got 2 true positional advantages in the Texans and Warren, and maybe one with May. So now it's just all those 6 other guys need to, step it up.
Isaac Tesla goes in round 16. Isaiah Pacheco still being drafted.
Wow. He's a last rounder for me.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, I could have took Love. I just think I don't think the Buccaneers are going to have a good defense. I think they're going to have to play just like last year. Baker Mayfield's going to have to be scrambling and trying to win games. I don't think much has changed on that team.
All the backup quarterbacks starting to go here. We've seen Murray, Jackson Dart, Baker Mayfield go round 14, round 15. We got Jordan Love and Tyler Shuck.
I
I'm
do
gonna
like
go with another
ahead,
tight end. I'm surprised dropped this far.
I was looking at Andrews, but he got the same week as Warren, so I didn't want to have that deal. Most of the time, I don't let that decide any decisions, but when I only get 2 players per position, sometimes I'm like, can't have the same bye week.
Yeah, I was thinking about letting it slide for another guy, and he got the same bye, so
Yeah,
I decided to just pull the trigger there.
yeah.
Good value on Andrews.
Doing pretty good. A lot of viewers tonight. Pretty awesome, everybody hang out. And I like Brian Robinson. I really do. I think it's going to be really similar to what we saw with Tyler Algier, who had pretty good numbers last year. Honestly, I think they have Bijan for the long haul. They're not going to just try to Ricky Williams and out of the NFL in 5 years.
And Iggy, is there any team that sticks out in the draft to you right now? Which team do you like that seems the strongest there? Which one are you gonna have to worry about? I mean, they're all pretty good builds. Everybody usually comes away with a pretty decent build roster construction.
That's what I said earlier. No easy outs. I think Team 8's got a pretty decent team, to be honest. They got a lot of balance at the running back and wide receiver position, and then I love Trevor Lawrence. I was a year early on him. I had him last year on almost all my leagues. Now his price is way higher, but I do like T-Law. Decent backups, but his just first 8 picks, I feel like, are just nailed right there. I mean, I would walk away with that team very happy.
Nice.
I like the alternating picks there with wide receiver, running back on that team.
Yeah, me too. And then I guess because of the draft, it worked out really well for him.
I can't seem to find that balance, but really that's what I'd prefer at this point this year is more of a balance than a bunch of these 0 RBs I've been getting lately.
Yeah, I tried to keep balance, and then I went off the train with the wide receivers. So, it is what it is.
I may need to sell some shares to Spiteri on this team.
Dang, there goes one of my defenses right there, Jay.
Broncos heavy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look now. I do have a good streaming defense I really like a lot for week 1.
If that's the case, I would wait. And I wouldn't push them up unless they were a good defense themselves. But there goes Von Vele.
I like Vele.
You guys think he steps up with the opportunity now?
Yeah.
We'll see. They gave up a lot to get him last year.
Or is it another situation where the Juwan Johnson, we've seen him benefit from injuries to the wide receiver room in the past for the Saints.
I think he's pretty good too. I think he gets a bump also. So
nice. Tyreek Hill.
It just depends on what we think Shuck's going to do, right?
I believe in Shuck. Yeah, myself.
I'm still a little queasy on him, but obviously I took Olave. I have hope.
I like him. They gave him more weapons. They invested in him. They think that I don't think they go all out and add try to add all what they added all at once if they didn't really truly believe in him. So I think they got their quarterback, and we'll see what happens. I'm optimistic for the Saints this year. I think that they could have a lot of fantasy-friendly games, and I think that division is up for grabs for really anybody can win that division. So
I mean, their pace of play makes them interesting no matter who's at quarterback. And again, I think Shuck's getting a long leash. I don't think if they have to go to Rattler because Shuck is stinking it up, I don't think that's like the Brissett or Geno situations. They're going with Shuck unless he just completely fails. They're not looking to yank him.
What do we got, Iggy? Dalton Schultz. I like it. That's a good pick.
Hunter Henry's still lurking out there too, but
Schultz gets a bump with today, with Jaden Higgins being out 100%. He's always used out of necessity. I was worried about his production this year if David Montgomery was if they establish a true run game, which they didn't have last year, and I think that's why Dalton Schultz feasted. I was thinking, if they can control the time of possession more with Montgomery, their defense is holding teams to a low point totals, then Schultz's overall total volume was going to take a ding. But now with Jaden Higgins out for the year, we don't know where Tank Dell is at as far as being 100% goes, although he does look good, for the time that he has been on the practice field. I think we can anticipate Schultz seeing similar volume as last year now. George Halani as your RB5. I like it. I mean,
oh yeah. Seattle wants to run the ball, no doubt about that.
And he's probably the best pass protecting back on the team too. So, we know Sam.
To snake him one more round.
And we know Sam Darnold needs is all the pass protection he can get. So, even though that offensive line is really good already, but we know Donald under pressure is no good. Eagles D comes off the board.
Which one?
Eagles D.
Eagles. How about Iggy's? I'm like, huh.
No, Eagles.
Iggy's D came off the board.
I feeling pretty good about this build, honestly.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's balanced. Even though you went quite some time with only two wide receivers, like I said, you have the right two wide receivers to do that with. High volume, alpha ones. I mean, people. I think people are dinging CeeDee Lamb too much with George Pickens being around. I mean, a couple of years ago, this guy had a 1,700-yard season. I mean,
he was the number one pick a couple years ago. CeeDee Lamb.
So I like it. He's still locked in the 1-2 turn for me as well. Mix him in there. The back end.
Check out our lads real quick. Look at that depth chart.
There's still a couple guys I really like, honestly. Maybe I'm just such an into the draft kind of hunter. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the most fun picks to make.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you nail it. Like I told y'all.
There's no pressure. No pressure at this point in the draft.
That's what I thought right there. Okay.
Jay goes with Jordan James.
Yeah.
Hopefully the substation doesn't claim him.
Yeah. Blasted him with science.
I apologize.
I
was gonna say I apologize to the viewers for scrolling the board up and down. That's just me taking a look at the draft board myself.
Yeah, and I have it down in the corner. I'm definitely paying attention here and building my team. So I wasn't any help today.
I've got 3 screens going, so I can keep track of everything.
Yeah, I got 2.
The draft room, the draft board, and the
When I live stream the draft, I do 3 screens as well. I keep 1 draft board, 1 the live stream, and 1 draft room. It's crazy.
I need 1 more screen, I guess. I got 1 going. I'm glad you told me to do that before this draft, though. That was a major game changer.
Yeah, the second screen. You need it. The draft board, just for the draft board alone. So you don't have to keep toggling back and forth. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's so much simpler when it's just laid out in front of you. You don't have to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we got to I always do this. We got to move ourselves over so that we can see the draft board. Back, is it this way? Yeah, there we go.
Man. Rona. Let's see what we got here.
Which you take for cough medicine? You go with the Robitussin?
I just took
Robitussin
some,
DM?
just took some cough drops, man. I didn't want to be drowsy before this draft, you know.
This is true. Yeah, Robitussin.
It makes me drowsy, so.
Don't draft while drowsy.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. Seahawks D out back there. I know they're one of my favorites this year.
Seahawks kicker. That's a Seahawks kicker.
Oh, Jacoby Myers.
The D is orange. The orange color.
Not Jacoby. Jason Myers. There we go.
Yeah, it's a good kicker to have.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's a
League winner out there in some leagues. Oh man, this decisions. This is break or not. I can't believe how far some of these wide receivers fell. It's unreal.
Our guy Nathan Garcia in the chat doesn't like the Texans kicker over Cowboys kicker. I kind of disagree. I think Joey Brown will argue this too. Dallas is going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns this year, leading you to 1-point kicks. And I know Aubrey can do a 6 or a 7 on any given kick, but Houston, yeah. Houston Texans is, they could have more field goal attempts. So we'll see. If it comes down to, listen, there were a couple of leagues that I was in last year that came down to less than a point for total points at the end of the year. So if Houston kicker outscores Aubrey by 7 points and it was because he had more field goal attempts, then that's the difference. Then there you go. I think it beats that people are in on the Aubrey kicks touchdowns a little too much. I mean, you can't go wrong with either kickouts, but like you said, Jay. All right, we're in round 18, approaching Iggy's pick.
James Conner could be a steal that late.
This is Seth
I like the
McGowan.
right pick there in the last round too.
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah. Giants.
He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 rounds after Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields up in the 12th round now after that nice grab in the preseason game he had for a touchdown.
I got him in my one dynasty league. I got 2, but one's like a best ball kind of dynasty. And I didn't know who it was. I just was like, all right, yeah, let's go. And it turned out to be a heck. I had people trying to trade for him. I was like, no, just wait, see what I got, buddy.
I liked him. I liked him before landing spot, and then I thought I was like, damn, he landed nice. Nope, we didn't know where Neighbors is at. Isaiah Likely they added, but Wan'Dale Robinson's gone. They had 167 vacated targets. Somebody's gonna absorb some of those. I know Malik Neighbors will absorb some, and Isaiah Likely's the top target. while Malik Davis has been out. So, but I do think that there's room for the wide receiver too in New York. Jackson Dart is if he's gunslinging it all around and he's just tossing it up there like he did the other day in the end zone, and Malachi Fields went up there and made a play. I think that'll benefit Fields because he's that type of wide receiver. He can go up and get those 50-50 balls. So
Here it is, the very crucial second to last pick.
What do you got? Did you take Justice Hill? Justice Hill?
I did.
Nice.
You know what? I'm just going to stack it and see if somebody comes out of it. Well, yeah, it's so tough. Yeah,
you do need to take a defense at some point, too.
Yeah, they're going to make it, right?
You're talking about the Giants and Fields, and I know you guys are talking, I think you're talking NFC East sometime this week, right? But a lot of people complain about Nagy, and they're worried about Nagy with the Giants offense. You got to remember they got Greg Roman and Brian Callahan there, too. And Harbaugh's not going to stand if the offense isn't working. He'll get rid of Nagy and put one of those guys in charge. Plus, they'll be contributing anyway, so they'll should get something that works with what they have. I'm less concerned about Nagy than I would be if he was just the OC and he was alone in that role.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm also wearing a Giant shirt, so take that with a grain of salt.
I think the Giants, their defense should be ready to go. That's how I'm looking at it. Is that which will help their offense?
Carter and Reese are going to be amazing.
Yeah, they kind of
have a D tackle to free them up, but
yeah, Dexter Lawrence was a big blow. It wasn't him, but
but we bolstered the offensive line with it. So, and it's not like Dex played well for us last year. Used to say if he would have this year, health, whatever, but he didn't want to be there. So I'm always of the opinion if the guy doesn't want to play for your team, just go ahead, trade him, get rid of him.
Yeah, I kind of
guys that want to play.
Otherwise, you got like an AJ Brown situation,
Yeah.
So, 49ers kicker.
All right, let's go with the wide receiver handcuff here.
Bryce Lance.
There we go.
Trey's brother.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I play a lot of campus to Canton, so.
C2C. I cannot keep up with college football. I keep up with the NBA, so those two are enough right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all football at this point. I used to be a huge baseball guy. I used to watch the NBA all the time, hockey. And I just don't make the time, I should say. I could find the time, I'm sure, but I just don't make it. I'll watch baseball still, and hockey still, but I can't watch NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell Iggy that too. I'm like, I just can't. I wish I could get into the way the game is played these days. It's so hard for me, though.
That's how I feel about hockey. I'm a Zamboni driver, Jay, and I just still don't know that much about the NHL.
I love those videos. Iggy got a video. He puts out his basketball video, right? He pulls up in a Zamboni. He's got it recorded, and it's him driving the Zamboni, and he's dribbling the basketball on the ice on the ice rink. And then he goes, "If you're a Zamboni driver, but don't know nothing about hockey, but you know basketball like me," I was like, "This is a great video." That was a good short, man. And I think that bet hit too. That one you did that night.
yeah, I did.
And yeah, it's fun. I like working at the rink. And you roller hockey, right, Joe?
I played floor ball hockey, not roller. We're on foot.
Yeah, I played deck hockey for a little bit.
Deck hockey. Yeah, that's another way to call it. Ball hockey, deck hockey.
Back before the beard came in.
Nice.
So somebody commented on my beard earlier. Yeah, I've been meaning to trim it lately, but it looks good on the live streams. I think.
Where'd you play, Jay? Where are you from? I feel like I know
Long Island.
Long Island. Okay.
So we used to have I don't remember even where it was, Wanta or something like that.
Probably some pretty good leagues in New York, I bet.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine. He coaches like I want to say 18. They're all like 18 to 23-year-old kids, and they travel. They play in what they call the MBHL. It's the something ball hockey associate. I don't know, but it's a traveling league, and there's all like A players. What they call them A players.
Right.
I'm like a B- at my best game these days. Anyways, it was a little better when I was younger and could run.
Yeah, I like watching. I was scorekeeping for a while, and it was like watching an A-level game compared to like a C or D. But it sucks as a scorekeeper because I'm constantly having to turn off the buzzard for icing or just the goalie catching it. And like level C or D, like they can barely skate up to the puck. So it's like I don't have to do anything really. But I like watching the A matches, and hockey at ground level is a great sport to watch.
I find I could always watch a hockey game. It doesn't matter who's playing. The hitting, the back and forth action, I've always find it fun to watch.
Nice free look pick in round 20 for you there, Jay. I've been clicking him myself right around there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys I was on early and then I kind of forgot about as other names have popped up. So I've been trying to mix some guys back in that I haven't gotten for a while. So
now, Iggy, you got to take a defense there. You have to. Yeah, they don't let you go without.
Yeah, I'm torn between Minnesota, who I think will have a good year, and then my streaming defense of the year for week 1 is the Titans, because it's Robert Saleh at the Titans at home against the New York Jets. So bad offense playing on the road to begin the season against a head coach who lost his job with the Jets. I just kind of I think the narrative and the situation, it's going to be hot there in Nashville. I don't think people are going to be in shape the first week of the season. So I think Tennessee's got a good opportunity to walk away week 1 with a major big defensive score.
Nice. There we go. Rashad Bateman, Nick Singleton, and you're up.
I almost took Nick Singleton to handcuff Pollard, but I went ahead and took Hill there. And I'm torn, man. Minnesota's got such a good defense, but they play Green Bay on the road week 1. And I just don't think they're going to go in there and do that well. Yeah, let's just stick with my gut. I've been sticking with these guys, and I'll look elsewhere after this week.
that might be a fun game to I wonder what the line is on that game.
I don't know. We should look, though.
I know Steve likes this. He's been talking about taking the Titans here in the last round and some of the drafts that he's been doing. He says they have a nice D line. And that Gino better be ready.
And they got 2 good linebackers behind them. So we'll see. Not the best secondary, but I'm not too worried about Geno Smith, at least this week. That's it. That's a wrap.
Well, that's it. Iggy's first NFFC draft is in the books. Why don't you take us through your team top to bottom real quick, and then let us know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I'll just read it off real quick and then kind of talk about it. Got CeeDee Lamb, Omarion Hampton, Rashid Rice, Josh Jacobs, Tyler Warren, Tony Pollard, Drake May, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Coker, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Malik Washington, Dontavian Wicks, Baker Mayfield, Houston Texans kickers, Dalton Schultz, George Holani, Justice Hill, Jalen Tolbert, and then Tennessee Titans defense. Yeah, just with 3 wide receiver leagues, I like to get a wide receiver in the first round, no matter kind of who's there and who's available. I love Chase Brown, obviously, and
And James Cook, if James Cook would have been there, I might have taken him, but I just like grabbing a good wide receiver. I believe in CeeDee Lamb. I wanted to get a good running back that can catch out of the backfield on the turn. So I knew that left me Hampton, Brown, or Barkley. And I just liked Hampton over Barkley. I hope they can stay healthy this year. The loss of the center does kind of scare me, but they'll have to adjust. They got plenty of time. Rashid Rice, we're kind of on the fence there on the third turnaround, but I wanted to get a wide receiver 1 bona fide to pair with Lamb. And then came back, and Jacobs kind of went down a little bit. He was going around 40, 41. So I just snagged him there, and I came back with Tyler Warren, who I really can't stay away from, even with the groin injury. I just think he's going to have like 100-plus receptions. Tony Pollard, I just figure RB1 with, Spears doesn't really scare me that much. Neither does Singleton. So I think it's pretty safe for Pollard. He's not a sexy name, but he just always produces. And then Drake May, you kind of hinted at that he might be worth the grab there. Nobody really went quarterback again all the way until Trevor Lawrence, honestly. But compared to what was there, I really like Sutton a lot. But May, I just felt like with 400-something points available, couldn't pass on it. Kenneth Gainwell is kind of my guy. So is Jalen Coker. I've got them in almost every league, I feel like. Kenneth Gainwell won me a league last year. I've been on his bandwagon since he came out of Memphis. Romeo Doubs, Shaheed, Malik Washington, and Wicks, all just kind of like reliable, either wide receiver 1 in Washington cases or, kind of reliable wide receiver 2s in Shaheed, Dobbs, and Wicks. Wicks could become a wide receiver 1. We'll see how it pans out. Baker Mayfield, I was just looking at the board, and I thought some quarterbacks were about to come off. Lo and behold, Dart, Murray, Shuck, and Love all came off as well. So I think I made the right move there. Texans kickers, like I said, D'Amico Ryans just wants to kick the ball and play good defense. So I got what was the leading point scorer last year in this format at the kicker position by quite a bit. And I felt like I had another great positional advantage. They played 10 games in a dome this season. I know that because I did the research on it. Dalton Schultz, he just kept falling. I wanted to get a good tight end too. We talked about his target opportunity. There's some flex potential there with him. Halani, just a grab. I think he could have a good maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and then I can back off of him, use him in the reserves. Justice Hill's kind of pretty much just throwing the dart. Henry goes down. I don't want to see Henry go down, but I do have Justice Hill just in case. Jalen Tolbert, I was torn, but now I got wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 for the Dolphins, who could have a lot of garbage time. So that could be potential there. And then Titans defense, I already talked to you about. I think they're going to have a great game week 1. So we'll see.
Question for you. Caleb Douglas, wide Miami wide receiver. You worried about him?
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about taking him as well when I went with Washington. I think one of those two are bound to pop out. I think Washington had a lot of targets. I don't know if that's just, hey, he's our wide receiver 1. Let's get the preseason work. And Douglas is going to be our big play guy. But I think Malik Willis and Malik Washington have kind of a combination going. And I think it'll be pretty beneficial for getting a wide receiver in the 12th round. I think he's going to outperform that.
So here'd be my question. Looking back now, do you wish you'd have taken a receiver instead of Pollard or a receiver instead of Gainwell? Because you got that 4th running back there and you were still looking for your 3rd receiver. So
yeah,
you already had so when you took Gainwell, you already had a flex. Or if you pass on Pollard knowing you like Gainwell and he may be there for you, you could have gone with a receiver at that 6th turn and strengthened your wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Sutton there, and I was looking at Wan'Dale Robinson. So, and they did get taken in that, the next round. But in between there, Quentin Johnson, I like Michael Wilson a lot. I have a lot of shares of them. So I wasn't really leaning towards them. I really like Marvin Harrison more than Wilson this year. And Harrison kind of came on the round before, so it kind of killed Wilson's value for me. But, when I look at that, like I said, Sutton, Robinson, to an extent, Jacoby Myers as well. Those are some guys I'm looking at that might be performing better than Pollard, might get more touchdowns. But I just like having a true running back 3 with Hampton going down, with Jacobs having a groin injury. I feel like I got Pollard, who's pretty reliable.
Okay. Again, I think for me, I like Pollard, but I'd feel better about him as an RB2 than an RB3 because now he's in your flex. And if you're going there, I probably would have tried to back him up with Singleton, would have been my other thought there. But I like your team. I would have gone May there for sure in the 7th. I think that was a good pick there. I like Warren. I'm not worried about the groin. And again, you've got a wide receiver 3 somewhere in that 9 to 13 range. You just got to wait for him to emerge and hope, week one, you get the benefit of the Shaheed free look. So you have a little bit of an edge there.
Dobbs is a free look. Dobbs is a free look too.
Dobbs is a free look too, yeah.
Yeah, so
You got some outs there in week one.
Lineup, as long as they're not in the lineup, I can put them in after, correct? That's what you're saying?
You can do it either way. You can have them in the starting lineup and take them out if they put up a goose egg, or if they're on your bench and they put up 18, you can put them in. So it doesn't lock until Sunday at 1.
Okay.
For anybody, that's a free look.
Yeah, and and I might regret somewhere in there with Warren and Pollard, not having one of those wide receivers. Parker Washington, a good one. You got Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison, I discussed, Chris Godwin. I like all those guys, so I don't know if I could have pushed off Warren. I don't know. He wouldn't have came back to me, I don't think.
No, I would have taken Warren if he was there, and I'm pretty sure Team 5 would have taken him.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking at. But and I told you with three wide receiver teams, it's hard. I'm not somebody that's ever had like 3 wide receivers. I'm just locked and loaded. It's always my wide receiver 3 sometimes isn't as strong as my flex, which could be an issue, But I do believe in Coker quite a bit. It might be boom or bust, but I do believe he's going to have some very valuable fantasy weeks.
But so we talk about it on these things with the build. Play to your strengths. If you feel like you can find wide receiver 3s better, then build your team that way. I find that I can find RBs later and fill that in later, so I feel more comfortable being strong at wide receiver early because I know I'll figure out running back later. I agree. Trouble in the beginning of the season a little bit when I don't find someone early, but that's my preferred build.
I kind of agree with that too, Jay. I like to be wide receiver heavy, but I'm okay. I'm like water with these. If I end up starting 2 running backs or 3 running backs within the first 5 rounds, I can adjust. I also have confidence in there's a good handful of wide receivers in the round 8 to round 13 range that I really like, and Iggy grabbed a couple of them in there with Rashid Shaheed and Jalen Coca. I'm kind of in on Dobbs too. I would like it a little bit more if Boutte got moved, because I do think that Drake May and Boutte have a pretty good connection together, and they were starting to click pretty good as the season went on last year. So I do think that could hurt Dobbs a little bit, but again, Dobbs in the 10th round is also great. Like I said, I took him in the last draft I did the other day in round 10 as well. But yeah, you saw the team that me and Steve built in the tag team. That was a little scary. I'm not going to lie. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not necessarily uncomfortable with the build. It's the player selection that worries me. We got CMC and Jonathan Taylor, 2 prime candidates for a regression in production this year. Plus, they're a year older, and they both have been known to miss time, miss games, if not chunks of the season. Yeah. And then we took a 3rd running back in the first 5 rounds in Cam Scatterbo, and we know that they're going to run him into the ground until the wheels fall off. So at some point you expect him to miss time. It's just the build itself is already slightly uncomfortable, but then when you factor in the player selection, it's like, whoa. You got, but threading the needle, like I said, I think it can work. If you really secure that positional advantage at running back, and you grab the elite quarterback in Josh Allen, and then or in your case Drake May, you still have that a piece of that elite onesie group. Then it's all about putting together the right wide receivers and being able to start the right ones. Like you said, in your weak spot is wide receiver 3. You got to pick the right guy every week there to maximize your potential.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind it as much if it's just one wide receiver position that you're trying to do that with. But if you're having to do that with 2 or 3 wide receiver positions, that's going to make it awful difficult to try to figure out the right guys to pick every week. Right guy every week. It's not easy, but at least you're only choosing one. And week 1 you get 2 free looks. So now you have a bit of an edge or advantage there with that decision. And then hopefully, we have more information about how they're using these guys, and you can make a better decision for week 2 and going forward on that.
Yeah, that's fantasy football. It's a marathon with weekly battles. So I'll see how it comes out. It's going to be some interesting. When do we find out the schedule? Is it generated as soon as it's done and free agency opens?
Yeah, it's already out there. If you went to the site, you'd see who you're playing. I think week 1 and 2 are all play.
All
weeks.
play. Yeah, I think
is it 1 and 2 or 1, 2, 3. I can't remember.
I'm not 100% sure, but there was one league setting that I looked at that it showed first 3 weeks were all play, but it might not have been an OC. It could have been a something different, but but there is 3 total all play weeks. And
it's showing right here that it starts at week 4 of the schedule. So
So the first 3 weeks.
You got to be in the top 6 in the league and scoring to win.
Yeah. Top 6 get a win. So I like that I like that for week 14. I always thought it should have been the first. I like the first 2 weeks and then the last week being that way. That way somebody doesn't have like an easy win over. You could get kind of screwed by the schedule that way. But it's all good. It's all works out the same, I guess, because there's 3 weeks altogether either way you look at it. But
at some point you got 3 all play weeks and you got 11. You got 1 game against everybody, so it probably doesn't matter in the long run.
No, it
feels better though when you have that lineup to look at that you're playing against a week 14.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's just the timing that matters. It's not really the overall difference, but. I want to point out Team 1. I thought Team 1 did a really, really good job from the 1 spot. I always like to give credit when that happens because 1 spot is not an easy spot to draft from in 3rd round reversal. You get that 2nd pick, and then it jumps right back to the other side. You don't get to grab the 3rd pick. So they started with Jahmyr Gibbs, and they got Pickens to fall in the back end of round 2. So I like that start. When it came back, they grabbed Colston Loveland. They pushed him up a little bit. Obviously, they know that he's not going to come back. And then they grabbed Garrett Wilson in the 4th. I think this is a phenomenal start. You have a high upside wide receiver with a high volume wide receiver. You grabbed a premium tight end, which you later stack with a 7th round Caleb Williams, which is a good price. Any earlier than that, and it's a bit of a reach, but I think it works out here because you pick it on the end. So, and then you fill in the wide receiver 3 and 4 with Mike Evans and Marvin Harrison, which I think Marvin Harrison's a great flex target this year.
Me too.
And then they do a similar running back strategy to what Jay did. They kind of build it backwards. They grab Ramondre, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt for contingent upside, and Aaron Jones, somebody they can plug in at RB2. If they're looking for a floor early on in the season, and then you got Woody Marks and Braylon Allen again with Breece Hall potentially having an injury. We don't know how serious it is. I don't think it's that serious, but and then we have Juwan Johnson. We talked about him getting a little bit of a bump with Jordan Tyson missing 8 weeks at least. So I really like what Team 1 did overall. Jay, Iggy, is there any other team that sticks out?
I like Team 9.
Team 9
started with the 3 running backs.
Yeah.
You come back with McLaurin, Watson, BTJ, Sutton. You still get a stud in Daniels at quarterback. You get Kittle at tight end. Did they back him up with Tonjes later? And did Tonjes even go? I don't remember seeing him go.
No, but they backed up Daniels with Darnold. I don't know. You think that's a good enough QB too? I do expect Seattle to pass more this year than they did in the past, but
I don't hate it. I don't love it. Yeah, I'd probably rather have a better backup quarterback than Darnold there.
Right. Yeah,
I have Daniels that I didn't even take a backup on, and I'll be scouring the waiver wire on that team that first Tuesday night. I don't feel good about leaving him by himself.
So for the most part, I have 2 quarterbacks on every team. These 2 shares of Justin Herbert that I have, and both of those teams I only have Justin Herbert. I didn't back him up. So I don't know if
I didn't back up Allen tonight.
That wasn't a plan. But I think it just kind of worked out that way. You went just Josh.
Yeah,
Allen,
just went Allen tonight. I got a couple of free look guys that if they don't pan out like Horton, I might.
Then
I need to. But
yeah.
Enough to like we didn't see any. I don't think we saw anybody go 3 quarterbacks tonight, and the backups were definitely going much later than they've been. So I figured there'd be a couple guys on the waiver wire, unlike some of the other leagues we've been in earlier.
I think that was my same reasoning. I think I had the same reasoning. I was taking free look guys and kind of going that route. But go ahead.
The other thing I'm seeing as we get closer to the regular season starting is I'm feeling much better about some of the options in the round 12 plus range, especially at receiver, where we're getting more clarity on roles and who may or may not have a chance to produce this year. So you got your Caleb Douglas, Pat Bryant, Cyrus Allen, guys like that you had no idea what you were drafting in June, but now those guys look like they have, potential roles earlier in the season than you might have thought back in June. And so now that there's more targets, there's more guys that you feel like you have some clarity on what their role is, that you feel better about drafting. Like if I took Cyrus Allen 2 months ago, which I didn't, I wasn't even thinking about him. Like, well, why? You're not going to feel, you're going to get him in the 19th round and he's a complete dart throw. Now you're going to take him in the 9th round tonight? It's a little early for me, but I get it. He's potentially the second option on Kansas City, and we all love the Kansas City offense. So there's more guys like that now than there were 2 months ago, and it makes the back half of the draft, I feel just better about the pool that's out there because you just have more clarity on what you're getting.
Right. And a lot of the people who have been taking those round 19 dot throws, like I know I have a couple of round I want to say it's around 17 or 18. Malachi Fields, he's moved up into that range that you were just mentioning. Omar Cooper is another one that's kind of slid himself up into there. Jacoby Lane, Trey Tucker. Who else we got? And then what do you think about DeJon Stribling in round 7? I mean, I have a couple shares of them in round 9 and 10, and but round 7 is pretty steep.
It's pretty early, but I had him on my target list if I hadn't gone 0 RB like I did. If I got a little more balance, he was definitely going to be a guy I was looking. Concepcion too. Those were going to be guys I was looking at that 7-8 turn.
The rookie seam is real.
Those guys.
You're talking about Stribling or Concepcion?
Both of them. They're both up in the 7th, 8th round. Yeah, 7th round tonight.
A little high. I got Stribling in Dynasty. I think, I believe in Purdy. I think Purdy's an underrated quarterback, especially with Kyle Shanahan. But, it's still a little early for me. I'd still rather have some of those other guys around there, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Reed, Golden. Cyrus Allen's getting pretty close to me too up there. You know,
I think I'd rather have Stribling and Concepcion over Golden, over Reed. But coin toss probably for me.
Yeah, well,
Just because I've seen at least Reed has had some productive games. We haven't really seen.
They're different. They're different. They're different picks. One's like major upside. The other's like a floor. But I
think Diggs and Coker are going to have better seasons than they are, and we got them two rounds later. You know,
Team 5 gets him as a wide receiver 6 in round 7. So it's,
I mean, yeah. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
How would you feel about him as your wide receiver 3 in round 7?
I would not feel good.
I would not feel good, but that should mean I've got a bunch of running backs that I feel good about. So again, you're going to be weak somewhere in these things. It's just concentrating that weakness to one spot so you can hammer it with options.
Yeah, and also fix it in season. You got 1,000 fab to work with, so it can be done. Sometimes it doesn't. They don't always present themselves. Sometimes you got to wait, but if you can get it done through the waivers. Those who grind waivers and focus on trying to add the guys and being a week or two ahead of time. Yeah, especially when bye weeks start to come around, you want to be preparing and looking ahead, just like you would if you were streaming a defense, but you want to do it with your entire roster. You got to be prepared. At least a week or two in advance in these leagues specifically, because we mentioned it earlier. If you not utilizing the Saturday night waivers to add, maybe you got one bench spot that you keep rotating in and out. You're trying to hit that cheap guy that sticks and earns a role and can move up your bench ranks. You get them a week ahead of time before they fully blow up, and then they're costing you a lot more fab, and then there's probably a good chance that you don't even get them because maybe you don't have the fab at that point in the season, or maybe you just underbid. You don't realize how important it is, or how rare the opportunity is to get a blow up guy. And then you end up missing out on them, or some guy overpays for them, and so you wanna be vigilant on waivers week in and week out.
Well, I'm pretty much a waiver wire warrior. I'm always trying to do it. Fab's interesting, but I'm always looking for people. That's for sure.
Nice. I mean, you got the bench spots. This is 20 rounds deep. So
we've got 2 more weeks before we have to jump into the fab fun.
Yeah.
Free agency's not open, right? You said.
Yeah, I mean, you can go with
Tuesday right before the season starts.
I've actually already gone in some of my earlier drafts and started adding people already, because there's a ton of guys that I have a draft from May. I have a draft from early June, and there's guys that went undrafted in that are up in the 12th and 13th, and even Stribling in the 7th round now. And he was going. Some people were taking late round throws on him, but he was also going undrafted in some drafts. So there's a lot of players available in those early drafts that I don't know about you, Jay. Have you already peeked into it?
I've looked at it a little bit. I really want to look at the new tool that they put out there, where it basically scrapes all of your leagues of a certain type and shows you whoever's a free agent there. That looked interesting. Like it might be a super time saver for putting together those bid groups.
Yeah, then you still have to go in and add the players you want to drop and whatnot and the bid amounts.
Yeah.
But
But, having to hunt and peck through each league to say, okay, Damon Claiborne didn't get drafted here, so I need to add him to this list, but he was drafted there. So
you don't have to search every league. Yeah. Definitely a time saver. Yeah. Iggy, you should definitely check that. It's on the list. It says you could do it for lineups too. You can set all of your team. I mean, Iggy, you only got one team, so I don't know if you're going to end up doing a second one or not, but even then you could probably just do one team at a time. But some of us have, I think I'm going to have around 10 to 12 of these. So definitely help.
No, definitely.
This was number 12 for me.
All right.
Nice.
Baker's dozen.
All right, so we're over 2 hours. We touched on a couple of the teams on the board. We pointed out, that round, the round 12 and on, people that have been moving up the drafts. Notable draft notes. There's somebody who went undrafted in this draft. I want to bring them up. I just want to get you guys' thoughts on them because, even though we got Michael Pittman injured, DK Metcalf, and we have rookie Jeremy Bernard. I wanted to get your thoughts on him. I think he went undrafted. I didn't see his name here. Am I missing him?
No, he's still in my queue after my draft.
Yeah. All right. So I think he has some pretty good contingent upside if Michael Pittman were to miss time and maybe a little bit of standalone value. But just what are your thoughts on the Iggy? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of value there because I think Washington's going to be a big target for Rodgers in the red zone. I think he's going to dip into some of Metcalf and Pittman's production, and that would include Bernard at that time as well. I think Warren and Rico are just going to have good seasons, and we'll see though. Mike McCarthy has ways to make the second and third wide receiver really productive. I saw it in Dallas. I saw it in Green Bay. So it's more than possible that he has a lot of sneaky value. I think he's somebody that you might see, like a lot of rookies, give it 6-7 weeks and then watch to see what they do. But Rodgers typically doesn't trust rookie wide receivers.
There you go. I like that. That is a good point. Jay?
Yeah, so all that and Roman Wilson, I think they like Roman Wilson too. But I think McCarthy is the X factor in Pittsburgh. We all have this vision of what the Pittsburgh offense looks like. But what does it look like with McCarthy calling the plays now? Is it going to be that vastly different than it was last year? Because you still have Rodgers executing. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know that I'm putting a bet on Bernard, but I've got my eye on him. So I'll be watching him. If it looks like he's got any kind of role, I'll be putting some bids in on him. But I'm not going to draft him at this
There
point.
you go. He actually may be a better free agent pickup too. So.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I got nothing else. Iggy, good draft, man. I thought you held your own pretty good. There, like Jay said, there may have been a couple of things that I've done that I did different, but there's nothing wrong with what you did. It's pretty balanced. You got three good running backs, 2 really solid alpha wide receivers. You fix your wide receiver 3 in your overall wide receiver depth by having premium quarterback and a premium tight end. And you did it. You did that in the first. You did it in the first 7 rounds. I think it's a lot tougher if you do it in the first 6 rounds. I mean, I guess there really isn't that much of a difference in one round, but I thought you recovered well. I like your wide receiver selections after round 9. So we'll see how it works out. But I thought you did a good job overall.
Thanks. And Jim, fun drafting with you. Like I said, you guys got a lot more notches on your belt than me, but it was pretty fun.
Enjoyed it. But I agree with Steve. Steve, I keep calling you Steve, Joe. I don't know why. I agree with Joe. I like your team. Again, that's a personal preference for me that I would have gone receiver with one of those 2 picks. But you feel comfortable going the way you did. So, again, you narrowed it down to the one weakness. We're all going to have one. And you addressed it with, you got 5 options right there. So I like your team.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Want to shout out the chat and everybody that was tuning in tonight. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the Sports Affiliation, we're approaching 1,000 subscribers. We want to get there. It's a big checkpoint for us. Costs you nothing to subscribe. So if you're listening to X and you're not subscribed, head over to YouTube, hit that like button for us, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. It helps us out immensely. And that's it, Iggy. You got anything else to add? Jay, appreciate you hopping on and halfway
Thanks
through
for
and
having me,
sharing
as
your
always.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jay, thanks for hopping on. Joe, thanks for hosting it. And I'm just looking forward to managing this team, man. It's going to be a new experience for me. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice. All right. So we're going to get out of here. I'm going to close the show with one of Iggy's famous quotes. That's bet smart and be lucky.
Let's go.